By the president's latest definition, fake news is not so much organised disinformation, more anything the media says that doesn't reflect him in all his glory. Only this morning he took to Twitter to invite followers to dismiss any unpleasant truths.
Any negative polls are fake news, just like the CNN, ABC, NBC polls in the election. I call my own shots, largely based on an accumulation of data, and everyone knows it.
But what data? In the case of his voter fraud claims, President Trump took up a tweet popular with conspiracy theory websites and ran with it without hard evidence that it ever happened.
So you think you're going to be proven correct in that statement?
Well, I think I already have. A lot of people have come out and said that I am correct.
Yeah, but the data has to show that 3 million illegals voted.
Forget that. Forget all of that.
It is the new normal that when the White House is cornered over a lie, it recasts what truth is.
Why did he do that? It undermines the credibility.
Here's a memorable exchange with Kellyanne Conway debating crowd sizes at the inauguration.
You're saying it's a falsehood, and they're giving Sean Spicer, our press secretary, gave alternative facts to that.
Call me old-fashioned, but I still believe there's something as a verifiable fact and truth, and I don't believe in what Kellyanne Conway has called alternate facts, because that's straight out of George Orwell.
There are Orwellian moments on offer every day from this White House. Ask a question in the Oval Office about new Iran sanctions, and you'll need to leave.
They're not behaving.
Thank you, guys.
Non-compliance will not be tolerated.
Good morning. So many issues.
In the democratic rough and tumble of America, the free press once had high standing. But Donald Trump declared war. At his only press conference since the election, he harangued outlets who challenged him.
Since you're attacking us, can you give us a question?
On that day, it was CNN.
Mr. President-elect, attacking
No,
our news
not
organization.
You. Not
can you give us a chance?
Your organization.
You are attacking our President-elect.
Go ahead.
Can you
She's
categorically,
asking a question.
Mr.
Don't be rude.
President-elect,
Don't be rude.
Can you
No,
give
I'm
us
not
a
going to give you a
question?
question. I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir, that nobody...
It's Trump's staff you can hear applauding, by the way. In truth, there was nothing fake about the story that had angered Mr. Trump. But in his battle with the so-called mainstream media, it's the fight, not who's right, that matters.
Trump made us part of his act. You know, he would point to us during his speeches and say, "Look at those bloodsuckers. Look at them. They're not on your side. I'm on your side." And that was very successful.
To make it perfectly clear, in a recent interview with Christian Broadcasting, the president painted it in the simplest of terms.
Yeah, I think the media is the opposition party in many ways. The dishonesty, the total deceit and deception.
But the president can only undermine the media effectively because so many Americans already distrust it.
I was just reviewing a survey. They asked 1,000 Americans what they thought was most threatening to the electoral system. One of the options was Russia, and they still chose the mainstream media as the biggest threat to the electoral system.
Conservative commentator Molly Hemingway says we can at least in part be blamed for our own undoing.
People really feel like the media have been playing partisan politics for too long, not trying to understand the whole diversity of the country, being overtly and unnecessarily hostile to a lot of conservatives. And so this is the culmination of a really long period of a breakdown in trust.
You know, I don't really buy that line of thought.
Back at the august Washington Post, Margaret Sullivan defends the media's record against allegations of bias.
You know, all the coverage of Syria, I think, was very critical of Obama and more.
But there is a blind spot, she concedes, in its coverage of Middle America.
I think where you can certainly fault the mainstream press in America is in failing to understand how important the center of the country was to the outcome of the election.
That, as you know, I have a running war with the media. They are among the most dishonest human beings on earth.
They like the fact that he's lying his way to the presidency. They like the fact that he's conning us and that we're horrified by it. All of that gives them, his voters, tremendous pleasure.
Perverse pleasure for his supporters and a critical tool for this president undermining those in the truth business to author a reality he prefers.